Little House on the Prairie wasn't just a television show. It was America's nostalgic heartbeat, pulsing with the ideals of family, resilience, and frontier spirit that defined a generation. But behind the sunlit prairie scenes and wholesome family values, real life dealt some of its beloved cast members devastating blows far removed from the show's hopeful narrative. Number 1. Michael Landon, the heart and soul of Little House on the Prairie. Michael Landon, who brilliantly portrayed the steadfast family patriarch Charles Ingalls, left an unfillable void when his light was extinguished far too soon. His unexpected diagnosis and rapid decline shocked fans who had come to see him as almost immortal. A television father figure who had guided American families through 3 iconic series. Born Eugene Maurice Orowitz in 1936, Landon transformed himself from a troubled teenager with anger issues into one of television's most beloved figures. His warm presence, directing talent, and commitment to wholesome yet meaningful storytelling made him the backbone of Little House on the Prairie, where he served not just as the lead actor, but also as executive producer and frequent director during the show's 9-season run. Landon's creative control helped shape the series into what many consider the quintessential American family drama. He fostered a familial atmosphere on set, particularly with the child actors, becoming a real-life mentor to many of his young co-stars. His character's unwavering moral compass, work ethic, and devotion to family created an aspirational father figure for millions of viewers during the show's original run and for generations since. On April 5, 1991, Landon began experiencing severe stomach pain while on a skiing vacation. Initially dismissed as stress-related, the discomfort persisted, leading to medical tests that revealed the devastating truth: pancreatic cancer, already in an advanced stage. On April 8, he held a press conference outside his Malibu home to announce his diagnosis, displaying remarkable courage as he told reporters, "I'm going to fight this, and I'm going to beat it." Despite his optimism, doctors had privately given him just months to live. True to form, Landon refused to retreat from public view or succumb to self-pity. He gave a memorable interview to Life magazine, discussing his diagnosis with characteristic frankness and humor. Meanwhile, he underwent experimental treatments, including coffee enemas and a strict vegetarian diet, alongside chemotherapy. Despite these efforts, Landon's health deteriorated rapidly. On July 1, 1991, surrounded by his family in his Malibu home, Michael Landon passed away at just 54 years old. Number 2. Victor French, the gruff but tender-hearted Isaiah Edwards, portrayed with remarkable authenticity by Victor French, was the perfect counterbalance to Landon's steady Charles Ingalls. But few fans realized how closely intertwined these actors' lives were, or how French would follow his friend into an early grave. Their parallel journeys, on-screen and off, would end with the same devastating disease claiming them both. Born in Santa Barbara, California in 1934, Victor French was the son of a stuntman and had acting in his blood. His rugged appearance and natural ability to portray complex, rough-edged characters with underlying vulnerability made him perfect for westerns and frontier dramas. Before and during Little House, French appeared in numerous television westerns, including Gunsmoke and Bonanza, where he first worked with Michael Landon, beginning a professional relationship and friendship that would span decades. French joined Little House on the Prairie in its first season as the mountain man Isaiah Edwards. Known affectionately as Mr. Edwards, his character brought a necessary edge to Walnut Grove, a reformed alcoholic with a tragic past who became an honorary member of the Ingalls family. French appeared in the series regularly for the first 3 seasons before leaving to star in his own show. He later returned in season 6 and remained until the series' conclusion. Throughout, his chemistry with Landon was undeniable, their off-screen friendship translating into authentic on-screen moments that resonated with viewers. What many fans don't know is that French briefly left Little House to star in his own series, Carter Country, from 1977 to 1979. When that show ended, Landon welcomed him back to Little House without hesitation, a testament to both their friendship and French's importance to the series. After Little House concluded, the pair's partnership continued with Highway to Heaven, where French directed multiple episodes while playing ex-cop Mark Gordon opposite Landon's Angel. In March 1989, French began experiencing persistent abdominal pain. Initially dismissing it as nothing serious, he finally sought medical attention when the discomfort became unbearable. The diagnosis was devastating: advanced lung cancer. French, a longtime smoker, had developed a particularly aggressive form of the disease that had already metastasized. Despite immediate treatment, doctors gave him a grim prognosis. French kept his illness relatively private, continuing to work on Highway to Heaven whenever his strength permitted. However, his rapid weight loss and declining energy became impossible to hide from the cast and crew. According to co-workers, he faced his illness with remarkable dignity, often showing up to set despite obvious pain. Michael Landon, still years away from his own cancer diagnosis, was reportedly a constant source of support during this difficult period. On June 15, 1989, just 3 months after his diagnosis, Victor French passed away in Los Angeles at the age of 54. Remarkably, the same age Michael Landon would be at his death less than 2 years later. The parallels were uncanny and heartbreaking. Two friends, both 54, both claimed by cancer, both leaving behind grieving families and countless fans. Number 3. Catherine McGregor. She was the woman viewers loved to hate. Catherine McGregor's portrayal of the gossipy, status-obsessed Harriet Olsen provided Little House on the Prairie with its most delicious antagonist. Yet behind the character's pompous facade was an actress of remarkable depth and spiritual commitment. Her long life would end peacefully, but not before she transformed herself in ways that would have astonished Mrs. Olsen's judgmental sensibilities. Born Dorley Dean McGregor on January 12, 1925, in Glendale, California, Catherine studied acting in New York before finding her way to Hollywood. Unlike many of her co-stars, McGregor came to Little House as a seasoned character actress in her late 40s, having appeared in small roles in films and television for years. Her theatrical training gave her the perfect toolkit to create Walnut Grove's resident busybody and social climber, Harriet Olsen, owner of the town mercantile, alongside her henpecked husband Nels. McGregor appeared in 153 episodes of Little House, making her one of the most consistent presences throughout the series' run. What could have been a one-dimensional villain became, in her capable hands, a nuanced character whose snobbery and schemes were balanced with moments of vulnerability and even growth. Her comedic timing was impeccable, providing necessary levity to a show that often tackled heavy themes. McGregor formed a particularly memorable trio with Richard Bull and Allison Arngrim, Nellie Olsen, creating the dysfunctional Olsen family that served as foils to the wholesome Ingalls. What fans might not realize is how different McGregor was from her infamous character. While Mrs. Olsen was materialistic and status-conscious, McGregor herself embarked on a spiritual journey during the show's run that led her away from Hollywood values. She began practicing Hinduism and eventually became deeply involved in the practice of Siddha Yoga. This spiritual path became increasingly central to her life after Little House ended. Unlike many of her castmates, McGregor didn't pursue an extensive acting career after the series concluded. Instead, she focused on community theater and her spiritual practice. She made a notable shift by teaching acting to children at the Wee Hollywood Vedanta Players, helping young performers develop their craft. Her absence from the Little House television movies was notable. She was on a pilgrimage to India when the 1984 TV movie was filmed, a journey that meant more to her than returning to the role that made her famous. On November 13, 2018, Catherine McGregor passed away peacefully at the Motion Picture and Television Country House and Hospital in Woodland Hills, California. She was 93 years old. Unlike the tragic early deaths of some castmates, McGregor's passing came after a long, fulfilled life, though her death still marked the end of an era for Little House fans. Number 4. Richard Bull. With his gentle, Demeanor and quiet strength, Richard Bull's portrayal of long-suffering mercantile owner Nels Olson provided a necessary counterbalance to his on-screen wife's dramatic antics. But few realized the depth of talent behind the shopkeeper's patient smile. His peaceful passing, while less sudden than some of his castmates, left another irreplaceable hole in the Little House family. Born in Zion, Illinois in 1924, Richard Bull began his career in the theater before transitioning to television and film. A classically trained actor with roots in Chicago's renowned Goodman Theater, Bull brought subtle craftsmanship to every role. Before joining Little House, he had established himself as a reliable character actor, appearing in westerns like Bonanza, and dramas such as Mannix and Mission Impossible. As Nels Olson, the even-tempered proprietor of Olson's Mercantile and husband to the overbearing Harriet, Bull created a character that resonated with viewers through his quiet dignity. Often caught between his wife's social climbing schemes and his own moral compass, Nels provided some of the show's most grounding moments. Throughout the series' 9-season run, Bull appeared in over 140 episodes, making him one of the show's most consistent presences. What made Bull's portrayal particularly affecting was his chemistry with Catherine McGregor. Their on-screen marriage, while dysfunctional in many ways, had moments of genuine tenderness that suggested why these seemingly mismatched people remained together. Behind the scenes, the actors shared a warm friendship and professional respect that enhanced their performances. Bull also formed a special bond with Alison Arngrim, who played his daughter Nellie, providing a stabilizing influence for the young actress. After Little House concluded, Bull continued acting in television and film, though he never again found a role as defining as Nels Olson. He appeared in shows like Hill Street Blues and Highway to Heaven, and in films including Normal and Witless Protection. Unlike some actors who resent being associated with a single character, Bull embraced his Little House legacy, appearing at fan conventions and reunions well into his later years. On February 3, 2014, Richard Bull passed away at the age of 89 due to pneumonia at the Motion Picture and Television Funhouse in Calabasas, California. His wife of 65 years, actress Barbara Collentine, was by his side. While his death came after a long and fulfilling life, the loss was deeply felt by his former castmates and fans alike. Melissa Gilbert led the tributes, writing, "This man will be missed. Goodbye, Richard. Working with you was such a joy, but nearly as joyful as being your friend." Alison Arngrim shared her own touching remembrance. "Today we lost my TV pa, the wonderful Richard Bull. He was as kind and warm as his character." Dean Butler, who played Almanzo Wilder, called him a very generous, soft-spoken actor with a wonderful demeanor. Number 5. Kevin Hagen. His compassionate bedside manner as Walnut Grove's trusted physician, Dr. Hiram Baker, made Kevin Hagen a beloved fixture in the Little House world. But the kindly doctor with the reassuring smile would face his own medical battle, one that would take him from fans far too soon. His journey from struggling actor to television icon demonstrated the same perseverance his character so often displayed. Born in Chicago in 1928, Kevin Hagen took a circuitous route to acting. After studying law and working as a ballroom dance instructor, he found his way to Hollywood in the late 1950s. Before landing his signature role on Little House, Hagen established himself as a versatile character actor, frequently playing villains in westerns like Gunsmoke, Bonanza, and The Big Valley, a stark contrast to the gentle doctor he would later portray. As Dr. Baker, Hagen appeared in 113 episodes throughout Little House's 9-season run. His character brought medical care to the frontier town of Walnut Grove, often working with limited resources and outdated techniques, but unlimited compassion. Dr. Baker witnessed the community's births, deaths, and everything in between, becoming an essential thread in the fabric of the series. Hagen brought warmth and authenticity to the role, drawing on his own compassionate nature to create a doctor that viewers would trust with their own care. What many fans don't realize is that Hagen's role was initially quite small, but his natural charm and the depth he brought to the character led to increased screen time as the series progressed. Michael Landon, recognizing Hagen's talent, gradually expanded Dr. Baker's presence, giving him more substantial storylines that explored his character's personal history and occasional romantic interests. This evolution made Dr. Baker one of the show's most developed supporting characters. In May 2004, after experiencing persistent health issues, Hagen received devastating news. He was diagnosed with esophageal cancer. The disease, often detected late due to its subtle early symptoms, had already progressed significantly. Despite aggressive treatment at his home near Grants Pass, Oregon, doctors advised that his prognosis was poor. Throughout his illness, Hagen maintained the positive spirit that had characterized both his life and his most famous role. According to family members, he faced his diagnosis with remarkable grace, focusing on spending quality time with loved ones rather than dwelling on his declining health. He even continued corresponding with Little House fans when his strength permitted, grateful for the support they offered during his difficult final months. On July 9, 2005, Kevin Hagen passed away at his home in Grants Pass. He was 77 years old. His wife, Jan, was by his side, along with close family members. News of his death triggered an outpouring of tributes from former castmates and fans worldwide, who remembered not just his performance, but his kindness. Off camera, number 6, Jason Bateman. While his time on the Prairie was brief compared to other cast members, Jason Bateman's early role as James Cooper Ingalls set the foundation for what would become one of Hollywood's most successful careers. Yet few remember that this future directing powerhouse got his start as the adopted son of the Ingalls family. Unlike many child actors, Bateman avoided the tragic fate that befell some of his peers. But his journey wasn't without serious turbulence. Born in 1969 in Rye, New York, Jason Bateman was just 12 years old when he joined Little House on the Prairie for its 7th season in 1981. Alongside Missy Francis, who played his sister Cassandra, Bateman portrayed James Cooper, an orphaned boy who, after losing his parents in a wagon accident, is eventually adopted by Charles and Caroline Ingalls. Though he appeared in just 21 episodes during the final seasons, young Bateman showed remarkable poise and natural acting ability that hinted at his future success. What makes Bateman's Little House experience particularly notable is that it occurred during a transitional period for the series. Michael Landon was beginning to step back from his on-screen role as Charles Ingalls, and new characters were being introduced to keep the narrative fresh. The adoption storyline gave the show a renewed emotional center, with Bateman's performance as a traumatized child finding a new family resonating with viewers who had watched the Ingalls girls grow up. After leaving Little House when his character was written out, Bateman quickly found success in other television roles, most notably as the star of the sitcoms Silver Spoons and Valerie, later renamed The Hogan Family. Unlike many child actors who struggle with the transition to adult roles, Bateman managed to continue working, though his early adulthood was marked by a period of career stagnation and personal struggles that nearly derailed his promising trajectory. By his own admission, Bateman's 20s were consumed by excessive partying and substance abuse. In numerous interviews, he has spoken candidly about this dark period, saying he was enjoying the fruits of my labor and checking out. According to Bateman, he was, professionally speaking, drifting in every way. I had no game plan. This period lasted nearly a decade, with Bateman later acknowledging that he was lucky I didn't get any DUIs. While Bateman never faced incarceration for his behavior, he has admitted he came dangerously close to serious legal trouble. I was never at the point where rehab would have been appropriate, he told Details magazine in a revealing 2009 interview, but added that his lifestyle was just enough to let me keep getting in my own way. The hard partying period ended when he met his future wife, Amanda Anka, who helped him refocus his priorities and recommit to his career. Bateman's professional resurrection began with the cult hit Arrested Development in 2003, where his portrayal of Michael Bluth showcased his perfect comic timing and ability to serve as the straight man amid a cast of eccentric characters. This led to a career renaissance that included successful films like Juno, Horrible Bosses, and Game Night, along with acclaimed directing work on the Netflix series Ozark, for which he received multiple Emmy nominations. Number 7. Shannon Doherty Long. Before she became a household name on Beverly Hills 90210, Shannon Doherty took one of her first steps toward stardom on the Prairie. Yet few connect the rebellious Brenda Walsh to the brief but memorable role of Jenny Wilder on Little House. Her subsequent rise to fame, controversial reputation, and ultimately heartbreaking health battle would make her journey one of the most publicly documented of any Little House alumnus. Born in Memphis, Tennessee in 1971, Shannon Doherty was just 11 years old when she joined Little House on the Prairie for its final season in 1982 to 1983. She played Jenny Wilder, the niece of Laura Ingalls Wilder and Almanzo Wilder, who came to live with the couple after her father's death. Though she appeared in only 18 episodes, young Doherty showed remarkable emotional range, particularly in a harrowing storyline where her character nearly drowned and experienced a coma, foreshadowing the dramatic roles that would later define her career. Doherty's time on Little House coincided with the show's shift away from Walnut Grove to focus on Laura and Almanzo's life in a new community. Working alongside established actors like Melissa Gilbert and Dean Butler provided valuable experience for the young performer. Michael Landon, still involved as executive producer, though appearing less frequently on screen, reportedly recognized Doherty's natural talent and encouraged her developing acting skills. After Little House concluded, Doherty quickly found other roles, appearing in the film Girls Just Want to Have Fun, and securing a regular part on the TV series Our House. Her breakthrough came in 1990 when she was cast as Brenda Walsh in the teen drama Beverly Hills 90210, which catapulted her to international fame. During this period, she gained a reputation for difficult on-set behavior and conflicts with castmates, eventually leading to her departure from the show after 4 seasons. Throughout the 1990s and 2000s, Doherty's career had highs and lows. Her role as Prue Halliwell on the supernatural drama Charmed brought another round of success, though again, rumors of on-set tensions led to her character being written out after 3 seasons. While never incarcerated, Doherty faced legal troubles, including a 1996 arrest for attempting to break into her ex-fiancé's home, resulting in probation and anger management classes. In February 2015, Doherty faced a challenge far more serious than any career setback when she was diagnosed with breast cancer. She initially kept the diagnosis private, only revealing it in August 2015 when the information appeared in court documents related to a lawsuit against her former business managers. According to court filings, Doherty claimed they had allowed her health insurance to lapse, delaying her diagnosis and treatment. Doherty approached her cancer battle with remarkable openness, documenting her journey on social media. She shared emotional moments, including shaving her head as she underwent chemotherapy, in an effort to destigmatize the realities of cancer treatment. In 2017, she announced her cancer was in remission following surgery, chemotherapy, and radiation. However, in February 2020, Doherty revealed the devastating news that her cancer had returned as stage 4 metastatic breast cancer. Throughout her treatments, Doherty continued working when possible, appearing in the 90210 reboot and several films. She spoke candidly about facing mortality, telling Elle magazine, "I'm not ready for pasture. I've got a lot of life in me." Her former Little House castmates offered public support, with Melissa Gilbert calling her a fighter and Allison Arngrim praising her courage. On July 13, 2023, in a heart-wrenching Instagram post, Doherty revealed that her cancer had spread to her brain, requiring radiation treatment. She shared a video of her radiation simulation, writing, January 12, 2023. Surgery. I had a tumor in my head they wanted to remove, and also biopsy. Despite this devastating development, she continued to approach her illness with remarkable candor and determination. In November 2023, Doherty spoke about preparing for the end of her life, revealing on her podcast that she was selling her possessions and organizing her affairs to make things easier for her mother. She also discussed her wishes for her remains, saying she wanted to be cremated and her ashes mixed with those of her dog and her father. On July 13, 2024, Shannon Doherty passed away at her home in Malibu after a 9-year battle with cancer. She was 53 years old. Her publicist, Leslie Sloan, confirmed the news, stating that Doherty died peacefully surrounded by loved ones and her dog. The outpouring of grief from fans, fellow actors, and her Little House family demonstrated the impact she had made, not just through her performances, but through her courage in the face of terminal illness. Number 8. Melissa Francis. Her endearing portrayal of Cassandra Cooper Ingalls captured viewers' hearts. But few could have predicted that the sweet-faced child actress would grow up to become a Harvard-educated financial journalist whose career would end in controversy and litigation. Melissa Francis's journey from the Prairie to the newsroom and her subsequent professional downfall represents one of the most unexpected trajectories of any Little House alumnus. Born in Los Angeles in 1972, Melissa Francis joined Little House on the Prairie at age 8 in 1981, playing Cassandra Cooper alongside Jason Bateman, who portrayed her brother James. The Cooper siblings were introduced after their parents died in a tragic wagon accident, eventually being adopted by the Ingalls family. Though Francis appeared in just 21 episodes during seasons 7 and 8, her character's vulnerability and gradual adjustment to her new family made a lasting impression on viewers. Like many child actors, Francis began her career in commercials, reportedly appearing in over 100 advertisements before landing her Little House role. Working under Michael Landon's direction provided valuable early training, with Francis later crediting him for teaching her important lessons about professionalism and preparation. She continued acting through her teenage years, most notably starring in the short-lived NBC series Morning Star/Evening Star after Little House concluded. What distinguished Francis from many former child stars was her dramatic career pivot. Rather than pursuing acting into adulthood, she chose education, graduating from Harvard University with an economics degree in 1995. This academic background led her to financial journalism, first at CNBC and later at Fox Business Network, where she hosted the programs Money with Melissa Francis and After the Bell. In 2012, she expanded her role to Fox News Channel, eventually co-hosting Outnumbered and appearing as a regular contributor on various programs. Francis's unusual career path from child actor to financial analyst made her a unique figure in television. She occasionally referenced her Little House background during broadcasts, but largely established herself as a serious business journalist separate from her acting past. In 2012, she published a memoir, Diary of a Stage Mother's Daughter, which detailed her challenging childhood with a controlling mother who pushed her and her sister into acting, revealing a far less idyllic reality behind her seemingly charmed child star life. In October 2020, Francis's broadcasting career came to an abrupt and controversial end when she disappeared from Fox's airwaves without explanation. According to reports from the Los Angeles Times and other outlets, Francis had filed a gender-based pay discrimination complaint against Fox News, claiming she was paid less than her male colleagues for comparable work. Her last appearance on the network was October 7, 2020, and her Fox biography was removed from the company website by the end of that month. In June 2022, the dispute reached a stunning conclusion when Fox News reportedly agreed to a settlement of approximately $15 million. According to sources familiar with the agreement, the substantial payout resolved claims that Fox News had retaliated against Francis for raising concerns about gender-based pay disparities. Neither Francis nor Fox publicly commented on the specific terms, but the size of the reported settlement suggested a significant acknowledgement of her claims. Since her departure from Fox, Francis has maintained a relatively low profile professionally. She occasionally appears on podcasts and independent media platforms, but has not returned to mainstream broadcasting. Her social media presence remains active, where she sometimes reflects on her unique career path from child actress to financial journalist to advocate for workplace equality. Number 9. Merlin Olsen. His imposing physical presence as farmer. Jonathan Garvey belied a gentle giant whose intellect and diverse talents would lead him from NFL glory to acting success to broadcasting fame, until a rare form of cancer cut short his remarkable journey. Merlin Olsen's life embodied excellence across multiple fields, making his untimely passing particularly painful for those who knew him beyond his memorable Little House role. Born in Logan, Utah in 1940, Merlin Olsen was already a household name before joining Little House on the Prairie. As one of the greatest defensive linemen in NFL history, Olsen had completed a legendary 15-year career with the Los Angeles Rams, where he made an unprecedented 14 consecutive Pro Bowls. This football pedigree made his transition to the gentle farmer Jonathan Garvey all the more striking. A testament to his underappreciated acting ability, Olsen joined Little House in its 5th season, replacing Victor French's Mr. Edwards character when French temporarily left to star in his own series. As Jonathan Garvey, Olsen portrayed a strong, reliable farmer and friend to the Ingalls family, alongside Hersha Parody, who played his wife Alice, and Patrick Labourteau, who played his son Andy. Olsen became a central part of Walnut Grove's community. His character faced significant trials, including his wife's death in a tragic blind school fire, after which the widowed Garvey was left to raise his son alone, a storyline that showcased Olsen's emotional range as an actor. What many viewers didn't realize was that Olsen was simultaneously building a broadcasting career, working as an NFL analyst for NBC Sports while filming Little House. This remarkable work ethic allowed him to excel in multiple high-profile careers simultaneously. After leaving Little House in 1981, he starred in his own NBC series, Father Murphy, which was created by Michael Landon, and featured Olsen as a gold miner disguised as a priest who becomes the protector of orphaned children in the 1870s gold rush era. Beyond acting and sports broadcasting, Olsen became known to millions as the spokesman for FTD Florists, where his gentle demeanor in television commercials reinforced his image as a kind-hearted giant. He also published several books, received numerous humanitarian awards, and remained actively involved in charitable work, particularly with children's organizations. His alma mater, Utah State University, named its football field Merlin Olsen Field, in recognition of his ongoing contributions to the school. In late 2009, Olsen received devastating news after seeking treatment for sinus issues. Doctors diagnosed him with peritoneal mesothelioma, a rare form of cancer that affects the lining of the abdomen and is most commonly associated with asbestos exposure. This aggressive cancer typically has a poor prognosis, with limited treatment options. Olsen began immediate treatment, including surgery and chemotherapy, while maintaining as much privacy as possible during his illness. In December 2009, as his condition became public knowledge, Olsen filed a lawsuit against several companies he believed were responsible for his asbestos exposure. According to court documents, Olsen claimed exposure occurred during summer construction jobs he held during his college years, long before his fame as an athlete or actor. The lawsuit sought compensation for medical expenses and damages, though it would not be resolved during his lifetime. Number 10. Steve Tracy. His portrayal of the pompous, yet somehow endearing Percival Dalton, who melted the heart of Walnut Grove's meanest girl, made Steve Tracy a fan favorite. But few viewers realized that the actor's real-life story would end in tragedy, becoming one of the entertainment industry's early and outspoken casualties of the AIDS epidemic. His courage in his final days transformed his legacy far beyond his brief but memorable Prairie role. Born in Canton, Ohio in 1952, Steve Tracy was a classically trained actor who studied at the American Conservatory Theater in San Francisco before pursuing screen roles. He joined Little House on the Prairie in its 7th season, playing Percival Dalton, a Jewish shopkeeper who arrives in Walnut Grove, and against all odds, falls in love with and reforms the notoriously nasty Nellie Oleson. Their unlikely romance and marriage became one of the show's most beloved storylines, providing redemption for a character viewers had loved to hate for years. Tracy appeared in just 10 episodes between 1980 and 1981, but his impact on the series was significant. The character of Percival brought religious diversity to Walnut Grove, with storylines addressing anti-Semitism and cultural differences in a thoughtful way unusual for family programming of that era. Tracy's natural chemistry with Alison Arngrim, who played Nellie, made their characters' relationship surprisingly convincing, and their wedding episode remains a highlight of the later seasons. After leaving Little House, Tracy continued his acting career with guest roles on popular series, including Dynasty and Too Close for Comfort. However, his career was cut short when in 1986, he was diagnosed with AIDS at a time when the disease carried tremendous stigma and little hope for treatment. Unlike many in Hollywood who kept their diagnosis secret, Tracy made the courageous decision to speak openly about his condition, becoming one of the first actors to publicly acknowledge having AIDS. In his final years, Tracy became an activist, working with Project Angel Food, which provided meals to AIDS patients, and speaking at events to raise awareness and reduce stigma around the disease. According to friends, he approached his illness with remarkable grace and humor, determined to use his remaining time to make a difference. Former castmate Alison Arngrim became one of his strongest supporters, standing by him throughout his illness and later becoming an AIDS activist herself in his honor. On November 27, 1986, just months after his diagnosis, Steve Tracy passed away from AIDS-related complications. He was only 34 years old. At his request, his death was publicly attributed to AIDS at a time when many celebrities' AIDS-related deaths were being attributed to cancer or pneumonia to avoid stigma. This final act of courage helped bring attention to the growing epidemic that was still being largely ignored by mainstream media and government agencies. Number 11. Carl Swenson. His weathered face and authentic frontier demeanor made Carl Swenson the perfect embodiment of Walnut Grove's founding father and mill owner, Lars Hansen. But few viewers realized that the venerable actor's final performance would occur on the very show that introduced him to a new generation of fans. His passing marked one of television's rare instances where an actor's real death was incorporated into their character's storyline, creating a uniquely poignant television moment. Born in Brooklyn, New York in 1908, Carl Swenson was already a respected veteran actor when he joined Little House on the Prairie for its premiere season in 1974. With decades of experience in radio, theater, film, and television, Swenson brought gravitas to the role of Lars Hansen, the Swedish immigrant who founded Walnut Grove and owned the town's mill. His authentic portrayal, complete with a convincing Scandinavian accent, helped establish the show's credible frontier setting. As founder Hansen, Swenson appeared in 40 episodes across the first 4 seasons. His character served as a connection to the town's origins and a voice of wisdom during community crises. Hansen's mill provided employment for Charles Ingalls and other townsfolk, making him central to Walnut Grove's economic life. Beyond his business role, the character offered paternal guidance to the community, with Swenson's natural dignity making these moments especially impactful. What many viewers don't realize is that Swenson had enjoyed a prolific career long before Little House. He was a major star during the golden age of radio, most notably as the title character in the long-running mystery series Lorenzo Jones. In film, he appeared in classics like The Birds and The Sword in the Stone, where he voiced Merlin. Television audiences knew him from numerous westerns including Bonanza, Gunsmoke, and The Virginian, making him a familiar face to viewers even before he donned Lars Hansen's distinctive cap. In 1978, during the filming of Little House's 4th season, Swenson's health began to decline. Suffering from cardiovascular issues, he found the demanding shooting schedule increasingly difficult. According to cast remembrances, he continued working with professional dedication despite his failing health, rarely complaining even as his stamina diminished. His fellow actors, particularly the younger cast members, remembered his patience and willingness to share stories from his long career between takes. On October 8, 1978, Carl Swenson passed away from a heart attack at his home in Torrington, Connecticut. He was 70 years old. His death occurred shortly after he had completed filming on what would become his final episode. The news deeply affected the close-knit Little House cast and crew, many of whom had come to view the veteran actor as a real-life elder statesman similar to his character. Number 12. Matthew Labourteau. His sensitive portrayal of Albert Quinn Ingalls, the orphaned boy who became Charles and Caroline's adopted son, made Matthew Labourteau one of Little House's most beloved cast members. Yet behind his compelling performance lay a remarkable personal story of overcoming early developmental challenges that few viewers knew about. Unlike some child actors who later faced serious troubles, Labourteau's journey represents one of the show's most inspiring success stories, though not without its struggles. Born in Los Angeles in 1966, Matthew Labourteau was adopted as an infant by Ronald and Frances Labourteau, who were told he had a serious heart condition and might not survive. Not only did he thrive physically, but he overcame significant early developmental challenges. Diagnosed with autism at a young age, Matthew didn't speak until he was 5 and exhibited self-harming behaviors that concerned his adoptive parents. Through their patient support and early intervention, he gradually developed the social and emotional skills that would later make his sensitive acting performances possible. Matthew joined Little House on the Prairie in 1978, initially in flashback scenes as young Charles Ingalls before taking on the role that would define his career, Albert Quinn Ingalls, an orphaned boy from Winoka who is adopted by the Ingalls family. Appearing in 63 episodes from seasons 5 through 9, Labourteau brought remarkable emotional depth to Albert's journey from street-smart orphan to beloved family member. His character faced numerous challenges, including a morphine addiction storyline that was groundbreaking for family television of that era. What made Labourteau's performance particularly notable was his natural chemistry with Michael Landon, who played his adoptive father. Their on-screen relationship felt authentic, with Albert's desire for acceptance and Charles's paternal love creating some of the show's most touching moments. Behind the scenes, Landon became a mentor to the young actor, helping him navigate the complexities of growing up on a television set. Unlike some child actors who struggled with the transition to adult life, Labourteau successfully pivoted to voice acting after Little House concluded. He has provided voices for numerous animated series and video games including Mulan, Spider-Man, and Metal Gear Solid. This career shift allowed him to continue working in entertainment while maintaining a lower public profile than his years of television fame. While Labourteau has largely avoided the serious troubles that befell some former child stars, his life hasn't been without challenges. In various interviews, he has spoken about periods of career uncertainty and the difficulty of being typecast after such a defining early role. However, his resilience, perhaps developed during his early struggles with autism, has served him well throughout his adult life. In 1992, Matthew and his brother Patrick founded the Youth Rescue Fund, a charitable organization dedicated to helping runaway and homeless youth. The brothers' commitment to supporting vulnerable children reflects the values promoted by Little House itself, suggesting the show's ethical framework had a lasting impact on its young cast members. Thank you for joining us on this journey through memory and loss. May the legacy of these remarkable performers continue to inspire new generations discovering the Little House on the Prairie for the first time, and may their memories be a blessing.